I don't know if I'm on air. It says I'm off air still, so I don't know. Oh, okay,
Okay, you
it's
told me
live.
to mute myself out, so
Okay, it's live. It's live.
you're live.
I just went live. I think we have a delay. So, welcome everyone to the Hangout. We had like super funny, awesome technical difficulties, so we're like 23 minutes late. And I have like a very strong wind here, so you're gonna see this like flapping of like the light. So yeah, just have fun with that. So I want to welcome everyone to the Hangout. This is gonna be really fast, really short and sweet. I want to share 3 brain hacks. I really think that they're brain hacks that I use in my life that I learned from other people, and some I just learned from my own kind of experiences that have really helped me to kind of increase my productivity and focus, and really kind of speed of thought, speed of implementation as well. This is really annoying. So I wanted to welcome everyone on the Hangout. So right now I'm actually coming to you from Costa Rica. I'm actually headed to Toronto tomorrow, so that's going to be fun. And Romeo's in Toronto right now. He's sitting in a Starbucks, and funny enough, my internet is right now faster than his, which I think is super funny. Hello? Hello, my love. And I want to welcome Rochelle and Brandon to the Hangout. They have a lot going on right now. It's super awesome. They're like selling their house, they're like packing, and they're about to head on the road and follow their dreams of travel and everything, which I think is amazing. So hi guys, thank you so much for being on. I know you're super busy right now. I hope that, I don't know how fast we're going to fly through this information, but we'll love to bring you out on after. If not, then, we have another Hangout next week. We have these Hangouts every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, so tune in because we're going to share, like, awesome stuff about different kinds of things. So, we're all online entrepreneurs. This is the Pura Vida project. We're the leadership tribe, and we are online entrepreneurs from all over the world. And so we talk about different things. We've talked about video marketing, about email marketing, about mindset, about belief, about what it takes to follow your dreams, about personal development. And today's topic, personally, I'm actually very fascinated with this. Romeo and I both really experiment with anything to do with lifestyle, anything to do with, pushing yourself, anything to do with becoming more efficient, becoming better. Maybe that's the best word, to become better at the things we do, happier, and I'm fascinated with all these things, and I love to read. I love to listen to personal development. If you know our story, we read the 4-Hour Workweek, and the one thing I really loved about Tim Ferriss is that he experiments with everything. I instantly related with him because I had always done that. And same with Romeo, we were, really into like fitness and health. I was a personal trainer, and I just loved to experiment on myself. I was like my own guinea pig, and so was Romeo. And really, I've just kind of, I continue living that way. Lifestyle design is really about that. It's about finding what works for you, and at any moment in your life, you can really choose to change everything in your life. For many years, I thought that on the most part, people don't change. And boy, was I ever wrong, because, maybe I didn't change for years, but I wanted to. And it took me kind of realizing that I could, that I really began to change myself and my life. And I realized, too, that this fascination that I've always had with, I'm kind of like a people watcher. I know maybe that sounds creepy, but I love to observe people. I was a personal trainer. I worked in a running store, and I used to analyze the way people walk because I used to recommend shoes to them. And I became obsessed with just everything, because it's like, when you really kind of break down the way a person does anything, you can get to know that person. And I find this fascinating, right? So I study a lot of successful people. I study a lot of people that are just, on the most part, interested in making all aspects of their life better. Because it's not just about business, right? It's about creating a business that, that you love, that suits your lifestyle, not the other way around, right? Not where you have to bend your lifestyle to your business. And also about being healthy, right? I love, walking. I love training. I love running. I love being healthy. I love eating well. I love to feel good. I love to have good sleep. I love, all of these things. It's like all of these things kind of add up into becoming a happier person. And so that's what I always look for. That's the kind of information that I just, I hunger for. And so the 3 brain hacks that I kind of wanted to share with you today have really immensely kind of changed things for me. And it's funny because certain things, Romeo and I, it's kind of like we figured out like along the way where we could define them, but we realized we've sort of done them for a long time already, and there were already things that we were doing. It's just we didn't realize it. You know, sometimes you do something and maybe it becomes a habit and you don't even realize what's happening, but when you can kind of almost define it and understand it, you can then share it, you can then perfect it, you can then, you know, kind of hone in on it and make it even better, right? And you can share it with people, and that's also what I love to do. So one thing that I kind of actually, one of these things was more of a recent discovery. That's brain hack number 2. But first of all, I'll start with brain hack number 1. So number 1 is, this is something I learned from Mark Hoverson. He's an online entrepreneur. He's a multimillionaire, and he, you know, he's very fascinating, and I love to study his work because you can see the fascination he has as well for this, about being better, right? And one thing I learned, which is, I think, really cool, it's a very, very amazing way to kind of activate your brain, right? One kind of thing here is that what I really recommend is that, you know, when I'm talking about like business right now, I'm talking about sitting down and being productive, right? You have to find the time that you are most productive in the day, right? And let's say you have limited time, right? Still find, you know, is it daytime? Is it morning? Is it nighttime? You know, some people work at like 2 a.m. and that's actually Romeo. Romeo is like a nighttime person. He stays up at night. He does his work at night. I can't. I just pass out. My eyes, I just can't. No amount of coffee, no amount of caffeine, nothing. I just pass out. I can't. I've tried, and I just can't. I'm the best in the morning. I can wake up at like 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. even. You know, I actually go to sleep a little earlier, and I just love it. I love that time because everything is quiet. It's like that time when, you know, the sun hasn't risen yet, and it's just absolutely silent. And it's like the time is mine, and my brain just goes on fire. It's like I can do so much in that time. I can think so clearly. I can produce more. I can do all these things. So that's what I've realized, and I really urge you to find the time that for you is the best, right? Because, you know, sometimes you might think, oh, it should be this because this person does it like this. No, every person, I think, has that time for themselves that they are most effective. And because, you know, I used to think, well, maybe it's nighttime for me because that's when Romeo does it, and then Romeo thought maybe it was morning for him, right? So we just kind of experimented. And so these are kind of things that, you know, you can do in this time frame, or you can do them in the morning and then you have your productive time later, right? So one thing is that you take a stack of books, right? So let's say, you know, not just, I mean, any books. I mean, I'm talking about personal development here, right? So anything about personal development, anything about strategy, anything that you're going to use in your business, right? Whether it's about actual strategies about online marketing, internet marketing, whether you're reading biographies or autobiographies of people that are, you know, successful that you're modeling after, or, you know, anything, just books like, you know, 4-Hour Work Week or Tony Robbins or anything, right? Any book. I mean, we're all like, at least I think so. I'm a voracious reader, right? So I'll take a stack of books, and you literally take a book and you give yourself like 3 to 5 minutes. Yes, I said 3 to 5 minutes. You go through the book and you scan. And it's one of these things that it's kind of like, this is not, see, people are like, well, you can't read a book in that time. You can't, you know, what are you going to really absorb? No, that's not the point here. The point is to open the book and to go into it with the intention of getting something out of it. So, you know, sometimes when you take a book and you just open it, right? Maybe you're asking a question and you see exactly what you need to see. It's one of these things, and it actually trains your brain to look for answers, and it gives you answers. It's really crazy. And what happens is it's like you start to think faster. You start to get into that kind of problem-solving mode, right? Because that's, your brain is always solving problems. You know, we forget that. And sometimes what happens is if we don't give our brain something to do, you know, maybe, okay, maybe you're relaxing, maybe you're meditating, maybe you're going for a walk. I'm not talking about that. Sometimes we can get caught up in worry, right? Our brain starts to worry, it starts to think of the future, it starts to, like, you know, project things. But really what's happening is your brain is still trying to solve a problem. It's just that is going down the spiral of solving a problem that you probably don't even want to solve because you're in like the state of worry. What if you give your brain a good problem to solve and you ask it questions and then you direct it, right? You become kind of like the master of your mind, where your mind doesn't master you and take over you, right? It's the other way around. And this is one of those ways because you really train your brain and you ask yourself, you know, what can I learn from this book? And you go through it and you scan, right? And your goal is to take, you know, 2 or 3 things out of the book that, you know, that can help you, right? Look for something, and something will pop out at you. And then you take the next book, and then you take the next book. And this is kind of like one of these things that actually increases your brain power, the speed of thought, the speed of implementation, the speed of problem solving. So this is really a brain hack because it really, you know, I didn't know this for a long time. You know, I said I was a personal trainer and I was kind of obsessed with the body and making it stronger, right? Your brain is also like that. You can actually make it stronger. You can actually train your brain to be even more productive, right? So this is one of those ways. The next way, which I think is super cool, and I did it, you know, I kind of heard of it very recently in an interview also with Mark Overson, but I kind of did my own twist on it, where, you know, I love to walk. I love to go for walks. And the challenge is, and, you know, you can apply this to anything. If there's something that you're doing, like, I don't know, around the house, doing something, right? You're doing something physical, washing the dishes or folding laundry or something kind of where you're doing like this this physical thing where, you know, maybe you're not really thinking of anything, right? Well, I like the walking because I love to walk, so I recommend walking because walking just helps you in so many ways. But the challenge is that, and you can ask anything, right? One way to start, and I really love this because even from the aspect of gratitude has changed my life. The challenge is when you walk, sorry, there's like a car going by, it's really loud. Every step that you take, challenge yourself to think of one thing that you're grateful for. And it sounds super simple, and it's so freaking hard. I mean, it depends on how fast you walk. Mark Robertson does this when he runs, right? He thinks of things he wants. He future projects himself into a future moment of something he's trying to create, like a goal, right? So I was like, well, what if I do this with gratitude? And it's hard, because it's like your brain kind of just wants to stop or wants to like wander off and think about something else. And you're like, no, like what are the things that I can think of with each step? And I still can't do step by step. It's just, I guess I can't think fast enough, right? But it's a really cool exercise, and it's like, it can bring you out of a funk, for example, if you're, you know, in a state of negativity or worry, or your brain is just kind of taking over and it's like just not functioning for you, right? Gratitude is a great place to start, but you can do anything. I mean, you can try to think of business ideas, right? You can try to think of, you know, what are the things that work in my business? And you just try to answer it with every step you take. It's a very, very challenging exercise, and I really challenge you to do this. I'm going to do a public video about this too, just about this challenge, because I think it's super cool. It really just trains your brain, and it does so many different things at the same time. If you're doing the gratitude version of it, well, you're going to start to increase this good feeling of, you know, all the things you're grateful for, because you're going to start to look around. It makes you very present, right? And your brain just starts to work faster, and you start to increase energy. And when you're increasing energy, you feel better. You actually feel better. Your heart rate goes up a bit. You start to breathe different, right? These are all things that can help you, right? These are brain hacks. And then the third one, which is a little bit more relaxed, I guess. It's like one thing that's helped me a lot, and this can be different from different people, is when I sit down to work, I take my headset and I put it on, and I have something that I always listen to. It's like I've changed over times, different times, but I'll have either a playlist of specific songs, right? Or I'll have an audio, and it's not, the purpose isn't to actually listen to it. The purpose is to kind of put you into a trance. You know, one really amazing thing I learned is that maybe if you know, anyone that watches video games, you know what they do in video games? They put music on in the background, and it literally puts you into a trance. Like, you don't even realize it. You know, it's really crazy. And it puts you in a trance, and you're just, like, totally focused on what you're doing. So you can even download, I mean, there's soundtracks to video games. There's, like, these soundtracks where there's no words, but it's just like these kind of repetitive sounds, and it just makes you focus like crazy. It's really amazing, right? Like, because we were in Canada, and we were staying somewhere, and the person always played video games, and it was like it was always on. And I would take my laptop and I would work. And I didn't realize it, but because the video game was playing in the background, it's like I was like, wow, I'm like super focused. I'm like, this is really weird. And I Googled it. I'm like, yeah, like there's a purpose behind why they do it. Obviously, they want you to play the game as long as possible, right? Well, they're going to implement these kind of like influential psychological tactics to get you focused even more on that video game, obviously, right? They sell more video games that way if you get hooked on it. So coming from the aspect of actually doing, if you want to do something in your business and you're trying to be productive, that's another thing that can help you. It's really cool, right? Like Romeo's found like these funny like tracks. Like I can't listen to one of them. This is more like a funny thing, but he used to play on YouTube. People do these things where they take one clip of something and they just loop it, and it loops for 10 hours. And there's one video of Gandalf from Lord of the Rings, and he's nodding his head, and it's this like saxophone kind of playing in the background, and it's the same thing over and over and over again for 10 hours. And he would play it out loud and just be like, I can't listen to this anymore. This is driving me crazy. He's like, really? Because it's making me really focused. And I'm like, to each his own in terms of what the actual thing is, but it really is crazy. It's really amazing. So, these are 3 things that I challenge you to try. Challenge you to just go out and try them, and it's just really cool. It's very fascinating. So I don't know if you're going to be as fascinated as I am about it, but I think they're like just so fun to implement and experiment with. So that's what I wanted to share. I don't know, I guess I went through that pretty fast. But I wanted to ask, Romeo, do you want to come out and say anything? I don't know if you can over there with your slow internet.
Yeah, that's really cool. There's some music playing here, so I'm not sure if you guys can hear me, but yeah, if you guys are gonna look for that song that she was mentioning, it's called Gandalf, right? If you go on YouTube, or you can go on Google, any kind of search engine, just type in Gandalf and sax beat, S-A-X and beat, okay? Gandalf sax beat, and it's literally for 10 hours. He's just like going like this, right? It's funny, but it works, right? So yeah, and like besides that, I think he pretty much covered quite a bit. So it's pretty cool.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, I'll share that in our group too, that video of Gandalf, because it's just so funny. Rochelle and Brandon, what do you guys think? Have you guys done anything like these things?
So we do all of them. Everything that you've mentioned, it's already like that's been on our palette for a little while. Like the whole, like we even did this thing. We called it dictionary definition, where or dictionary, is that it? Am I right?
Yeah. It's basically divining your wisdom by thumbing through the dictionary.
So we pick up and we have a question, or we think about whatever we were having an issue with, be it business or whatever, and we'd flip open and see where we'd end up on the dictionary to see if it'd give insight. And surprisingly, it does it all the time. Like it seems to always work. And the more you get it, the faster the gears get turning, and the more it works. And yeah, that totally. And then gratefulness, that's something that we practice every day. I mean, that's like at least twice a day. We do it in the team and in our tribe, but that's the first thing I do in the morning. When I wake up, I think about the things that I'm grateful for. And this is something, it's been new in our life, or at least in my life, for the last year or so, and it's completely changed things. It's changed my days dramatically. Gratefulness is it's huge. It's a big important part in any. I mean, mind hacks. Yeah, get yourself into that, because gratefulness will really do.
Yeah, actually, I started a gratitude journal. I think it was in February, and it was quite literally within a week or so, things really began to change in my life, just because I was changing the way I was looking at them, and instead of looking at what I didn't like and complaining about it, I was instead focusing on the things that I do like and seeing things that are working. And the more I did that, the more I noticed, and then it seemed like it just increased and increased and increased. And now look at me today, I'm a completely different person, in just a few months of time, and I I attribute a lot of that to simply changing my focus and having a gratitude of appreciation, or an attitude of appreciation, is what really started the ball rolling for me.
Totally.
So I highly recommend it to everybody.
It's huge. It's like
it trains you to look at life differently.
Yeah, you look at it's the glass is half full rather than half empty. You get to see the better things in life. You see life in a new light because there's so much to be grateful for, and there's so much to enjoy out there, and
then before you know it, you're not complaining anymore because you're not looking at things to complain about.
Right. You're not getting that upset over the little things because they're not there anymore. It's focus is huge, whatever you're focusing on.
Yeah.
And then for the third, I mean, we have an iPod that's dedicated for just for playlists and inspirational audios. So that's all it is. I have a playlist, but they're more like happy dream playlists. Like it's to get me in a good mood, to make me smile, to make me really feel the music.
We have a feel-good playlist.
And then
we have a focus playlist. We have a meditation playlist.
And then just a ton of audios. And I recently did the 30-day video challenge where I went out for 30 days and recorded the video. But that was mainly what I did, is plugged into my audios and just walked. I walked around. I saw nature for what it was. I looked for things to be grateful for. Plugged into inspirational mind training stuff, and just gave myself a bunch of mind candy, because that's what I love. And it's those three. I mean, I think you hit it perfectly, because that's our life in a nutshell right there. So
good stuff.
That is awesome. So I love that I mean, we all do it, right? It's not a coincidence that we all do it, right? And I love that you brought that up too, Rochelle, about the journal, the gratitude journal. I have that too, and I think it's also important to kind of write. One thing I like about the walking challenge is that you don't just stop at one or two things. Sometimes people do that, where they just think of one thing, and then it's easy to just let your mind kind of go back into that worry or complaining or whatever, right? But when you force yourself to constantly do it, it just completely shifts everything, exactly like you said, how it's changed you and changed your life. And I have had the exact same experience, right? It's just it really is, all of these sayings, they're true. What you focus on expands, and it actually is true. And it's because your mind will do what it wants, right? It'll follow the habits and the patterns that it's already used to, and it's up to us to change them if we don't like what's happening, right? If we don't like where our life is, if we don't like how we are, you can change it, right? So this idea that people don't change, well, they do. But it takes that effort, it takes that, initial kind of that conscious, focused effort, and then after, habits actually develop again, but they're better habits. They're habits that actually empower us to the changes that we want, right? And these are amazing things, because it means that, just as much as we can train our body, right, to change and to look how we want it to look, we can also train our brain. It's the same, right? And I guess I've always wanted that, and I didn't realize that even when I was a trainer, and now I do, that it just works like that throughout everything, throughout all of us. So it's really cool. So thank you guys for sharing. Thank you for coming on. I'm excited for my trip to Toronto tomorrow. We'll be there for a couple of weeks, leaving our fur babies in the care of someone awesome. So thank you for tuning in. We're going to have our next hangout on Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern next week. I always get confused. I'm really bad with time zones. It's 4 p.m. here right now. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. Leave us your comments. If you do these things already, let us know how has it impacted your life. If you have any other things that you do, if you want to let us know, leave it in the comments. And if you haven't done these things and you're going to go out and implement them, then go out and implement them and let us know how it goes. I really want to know. I'm very curious about this. I am actually fascinated with how people do this, and I am like a people creeper, so let me know. So thanks again, guys, and Pura Vida.